Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Dumela, which means hello, dear viewer and listener. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. I welcome you to another exciting, all our episodes are exciting, but this one has to do with mental health issues, and I think you're going to love it. My guest will introduce herself momentarily. In the meantime, let me just make a special plea for you to kindly subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button, guys. We need your support. My guest is Mother K.
Yes.
And you're going to give your full name, which is, just introduce yourself.
My name is Mother K. Masire. And who am I? I think you're waiting for that question. I struggle with that question, not really struggled, but interrogated it, because usually when you ask people who they are, you know, we share our heads. I am a mindfulness teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a father, you know, so I'm thinking, but that doesn't really give us an essence of a person. So I went and tried to find what my essence was. And the way that I found my essence was ask myself two questions, to say two things. If I was to be asked to guard two things in this world, what will they be? And the thing is love and peace.
Wow.
So how I explain myself who I am, I say, my name is Mother K. Masire. I am a guardian of love and peace.
Wow. We're going to unpack that in a minute. Any relation to the former president?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's my father. He's my father-in-law.
Wow. This is good. Now, tell us about educational stuff, background and vocational background.
Okay. I spent most of my time in Francistown, my childhood, finished secondary school there, and then I came to the University of Botswana, where I studied sociology, which I thought really I was not happy with my choice by second year, because I discovered I'm more creative. So I wanted to study marketing, but unfortunately, the sponsor, government said, it doesn't matter, you got your sponsorship, we won't give you another one. So I just stuck with it. And what is interesting is, you know, it's just playing a major role in what I'm doing right now.
So it turned out to be what you didn't want is what you really wanted.
What have been presented, what I evolved to.
Yes. And any additional training in terms of experience?
Well, it's additional training, I would say it's more, let me not make them small. I've done a course on project management with IDM, and then I have also attended courses in mindfulness, because when I started there was not a certified course, but you had to practice. They were looking at numbers. So I did MTC, which is mindfulness cognitive therapy. I have also done mindfulness communication. So those were the things that I have actually studied, and I've also worked or have been mentored by what's the British president's name? The Blair. What's the lady's name?
Tony Blair.
Yes, the wife. What's her name? She has
Mrs. Blair, I guess.
Yeah, well, she has a name, Sherry Blair. She has a foundation. So there was a mentorship that I did through them.
At its simplest form, what is mindfulness?
What mindfulness is, in its simplest form, is just awareness of oneself internally, that is your emotion and your thoughts, and then what's going on within your body, and then the environment. Environment is anything external, whether it's it people or the actual physical environment. So that awareness, and it's something that is innate in people. Everybody is mindful, but it's that we don't really use that tool.
I've heard people saying wakefulness, and they're saying people are not awake in this sphere. Is it a similar concept?
No, it's not a similar concept, but basically it's really a concept that is putting you in the now, present moment. Because most of the time our mind is either on the past or way in the future. The past activate depression if you're going to focus on the past of things that you're not really proud of or that you wish didn't happen, and then spending too much time in the future create anxiety. Yes. So what mindfulness does is we are here now. What's going on now here at this moment.
So it's not good to dwell in the past, it's not good to dwell in the future.
No.
Because if you dwell in the past, what happens?
It's done. You know, and everything happens in the present. The past at some point was a present moment for you. The future is going to be present when it happens. So everything is here now, and that's where the space that you create for the next part in your life.
What are the benefits of this practice of mindfulness?
So yummy. Mindfulness really has so many benefits. You have the health aspects. You know, it benefits you with your health. You for students, concentration, relationships. Relationship, I don't just necessarily mean romantic relationship. You know, we relate every time we go out and interact with people. So it helps with that. So there's a whole buffet of what mindfulness can do, but those were the themes, like from the health point of view, from the relational point of view, even in a business setting, mindfulness is really, really important.
What drew you to mindfulness to the point of becoming a teacher?
Okay, I like that question. I'll try to just summarize it. My 9 to 5, because I feel right now I'm more following my purpose than just the job. Before following my purpose, I was into marketing and advertising, and I was...
you worked for some big company?
Yes.
Which is
I was working for, my last job was with Cibet, which is the company that owns Botswana Guardian and the Midweek Sun. I was the commercial manager, meaning, you know, the stakeholders, really their focus was on me. Everything that had to do with revenue fell under my shoulders, and it was a very stressful job, and I am an ambitious person, so I felt I overworked myself because I wanted to prove to myself and to my board that it wasn't really a bad decision, because during that time the media was mainly saturated with male. I was young in the exco. I was, you know, in the minority in terms of gender. So I just said, I want them to really see what I'm made of. So I really pushed myself so hard. And then eventually what happened is I started having, you know, physical challenges, panic attacks.
Really?
Yes.
Because you're not meeting your targets?
No, I was meeting my targets.
So why are you panicking about?
Because we are having deadlines every week, 2 deadlines. And because I told you I was ambitious, I wanted things to be on time, because with a business like that, there are so many, every element affect the other. And then you always have to be ahead of your game. So I felt I wasn't really taking good care of myself. Hence the panic attack.
Wow.
Yes, the panic attack is basically, it's something that happens usually when you think you get anxiety. Yes.
You're staying too much in the future.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, I found meditation through my sister, and then from meditation, I started. It helped me, and in that journey, I found about mindfulness because meditation is the tool that helps you to be mindful.
Does this involve an element of yoga?
Well, yes. It's mindful movement. Yoga is mindful movement.
Okay. So how did you get into it?
How did I get into
the mindful movement, the activity, the whole
okay,
area?
So after discovering that, I left the country to just search for my soul. And in those 3 years, that's when
Where did you go?
I went to South Africa.
I thought you'll say India.
No. I went to South Africa to study brand management. But the idea wasn't really about studying from the beginning. I wanted to be legal in a country. The idea was to search for my soul and find out what I really need in my life.
So you're studying branding during the day, at night were you going to these courses?
I was studying, it was part-time, and I was with AAA, the best advertising school in Southern Africa.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yes, so it was evening classes. During the day was my time. Yes, so that's how I got in the journey, and that is where I found out that I can actually use it because I loved it as part of something that pays me, because it was in South Africa where I thought I was just offering it for free. I had a project with Wits University, agriculture architect department.
Okay.
So they were working on space creation. So after I did that, they then said I should invoice them, and I didn't know. I don't charge. Then they said that's your time and intellectual property. So I didn't even know how much. So they gave me a check that I just couldn't believe. I could make money.
And made you realize you could make money out of this.
Yes, and more that it's really what I would like to share with as many people as possible.
So using yourself as an example, how did you use mindfulness to get rid of anxiety?
Through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness is not something that you study and you get certified. That's why I'm really struggling with BQA here, because some companies would like a trainer to be accredited. You don't, it's something that is ever evolving. You cannot say somebody is mindful. They can be mindful right now, then 30 seconds they're not mindful. So I got into that through practices, which includes meditation. I went to classes, mindful movements, and other practices.
Is it very difficult to be consistently mindful?
Not really. Over time, okay, this is what happens over time. So the front part of your brain,
frontal lobe.
Yeah, exactly, the front cortex. Yes. It's malleable, you know that, right? It's flexible. So whatever you practice over and over, it creates a pathway, and then it brings you there faster. So the more you practice mindfulness, you are able to bring yourself to be mindful easier than when you're not practicing. Hence, people who are always complaining, even whatever you say to them, they will end it with a complaint. It's because the wiring over time, that's what happened. Yes.
What they call neural pathways.
Thank you.
Okay. In the Botswana context, how does this lack of mindfulness show itself among Botswana? How do you normally notice when you meet someone that this one is not mindful?
I would not like to use a stereotype, because mindfulness teaches us not to be judgmental at the same time.
No. What are put it another way? What are the symptoms and signs
when somebody
needs assistance?
How you feel when you don't feel centered, when stress, because mindfulness really, really does help a whole lot with stress. When your health is telling you, communicating, one day is a headache, tomorrow it's ulcer, the next day, so your body's communicating. But because you're not present, you don't even know what it's saying. You don't know why you are even experiencing those symptoms. So there are so many ways to find that somebody is not mindful, the forgetfulness, error.
So at what point did you now decide to form a company?
Okay, that is a journey. A friend of mine, a childhood friend, she's a psychologist, Dr. Didi. When I came back from South Africa, she said, "Come on, girl, I've been really, not wanting to do the clinical psychology thing of a couch. Let's create something, because I know from the psychological point of view, because I deal with the why, there is the how that will be needed, how then somebody, despite what they're going through, they can be able to live themselves. So let's then get together." So we did and formed a company that was called Botho. But during COVID, we folded Botho, and then...
Because you couldn't meet patients.
Not exactly, because it was time that we really needed time for ourselves, so we wanted to change the model. We still work together differently. I am Botho Treats. Now she is Botho Cops, because now she's focusing on the young ones, and she's opening
Cops, C-O-R-P-S.
C-U-R. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say is the focus of Botho Treats?
Botho Treats, our tagline is your wealth, your health, your wealth. Solutions for body, mind, and soul. So the focus, honestly, is to make sure that you are well holistically, well-being. Because most of the time when we think about health or well-being, we focus on the physical aspect of things.
Okay, I want you to give me an example of a case study without mentioning names of, someone you took, a patient A, you took from this condition to that condition, lack of mindfulness to mindfulness, and illustrate for us to understand the before and after situation.
Okay, thank you very much for understanding that I cannot share names. I appreciate that. But for the case of just sharing a real life example is, I am very passionate about transitional youth, because that was a very difficult time in my life. So I want to be the change that I want to see happen. So I will take an example. I have a number of young people that I've worked with, and it wasn't even about them being not mindful. It was about nurturing, seeing their capabilities. So having worked with them,
Very interesting.
I'm very, 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 very proud, and they should be proud of themselves that their work is now international over time. I'm talking about people who doubted themselves, because mostly we're doing things that the Botswana market was not really ready for. And when you are a pathfinder, the external noise become too much that you start doubting yourself. So we worked over time to get to that space. And just before I just got in here...
What are they doing internationally now?
Okay, the other is in the film industry. The other's work is an artist. It's in offices that the other one is in New York, Ukraine, in the office of the president.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you help them exactly?
Loving them. And just, sharing, because like I'm saying, you cannot say somebody is mindful and certify them mindful. It's an evolving thing. They go. How I help them is just, being a mentor and being there and using the principles of mindfulness within them, and then sharing what they can do when they feel unbalanced or feeling they're not grounded.
Do you help them discover themselves?
You can say that again. Yes. I also, my
other specialty
is talent identification
and development. Okay.
I know one of my very lovely one have been sitting here. She has an office upstairs. If you ask Miss Komotso about Mother K and
wow,
she may be able to share more.
She was here 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yes. And then, like I was saying, when I was arriving here, I received an WhatsApp. This now it's from a business person that we've been working with about sharing a product that eventually they managed to put into life. Yeah.
So in terms of your modus operandi, how do you assist people? Is it in the form of workshop? Is it one-on-ones? How do you operationalize all these skills that you have?
Okay. It's growing organically because, through Afrobot we did realize the, being path finders. So currently we've, put them in different, we work with corporates, and then we have retreats, and then there is one-on-ones. Yes. And then groups. Yes.
Okay. I'll let you drink your water for a moment. Okay, so the one-on-ones, if somebody wants to take advantage of your skills, how does it work? What do they have to do and what happens? Give us steps A, B, C.
Okay. The one-on-ones, the first consultation is free because I would love for somebody to feel somebody. If they are ready, if they also feel me, because honestly speaking, my belief is you cannot be healed by somebody that your energy is not aligned with.
Yes.
That's why we change doctors even physically. So it's for us to have the conversation and for you to let me know your challenges or why you think you will need somebody like me. And then from that first consultation, then we can then do one-on-ones. They differ. You have one-on-ones that are just once-off, but usually for those are just for sounding boarding. This person is not really committed or whatever, but they just want to vent or say stuff in a safe space. And then most of my programs are usually 4 sessions, which I do weekly with somebody, and we work through online platform, and then after the 4 weeks we review and see how we move forward. So what works for one may not work for the next person because we are all different.
Okay. What about the group engagement? How does it work?
Okay, the group engagement, we have a buffet of services or products that one may be interested in. So the groups is like, mainly can be friends, a group of friends, maybe siblings, maybe family, or it doesn't really matter, but people with a common, challenge. So what I do is also find out what are the needs. There is a questionnaire that the people fill in that help curate their program for them. But groups usually happen in the form of a workshop stroke retreat for a day or weekend, depending how the affordability.
Okay. So there are psychiatrists, there are psychologists, there are mindfulness experts. How do these professions interrelate?
Okay. Like I was saying, with the psychologist, I worked with the psychologist. To try to explain to people, our synergies. She's the why. Why are you going through that? Why are you shouting instead of just talking properly? Why are you doing these behaviors?
Throwing tantrums.
Exactly. So they will then explain and look at why certain behavior, and then they work with you in terms of correcting or just finding ways. The mindfulness coach is then the how. I am depressed. I have been diagnosed with depression. And it's an ongoing thing, you don't then get okay the next day. So then the mindfulness coach get in on how do I then coexist with this diagnosis so that I'm able to hold myself.
Okay, we've seen an explosion of mental health issues. I would say there's been a worsening and there's been an improvement. Improvement in the sense that we don't hear of passion killings as much as we used to 10 years ago. But nevertheless, there are mental health issues. What would you say the state of the landscape is as you look at it? Is it getting worse or things are improving?
Well, mental health is a very interesting one because you cannot just, look at people from face value and look at that. But at the same time, I think it's just the awareness of what mental health is, well-being, of being functional and be able to, correspond and participate productively with your environment. So there are a wide range of issues. Some is just mild and some may be clinical issues. So with I don't know whether we're in post-COVID, but
almost. We're getting towards the end of it.
But I think what COVID did is it really increased, or we are seeing the after effects or the need for us to, care about our emotional and mental well-being, for us to be productive members of society. And during COVID, it really exploded because there was a point that I had to stop working for my own mental health because of, the situations or what I was hearing or what I was dealing with. And my belief is, everybody, you should come first. You cannot give from an empty jar. So it was a difficult one because I was wondering, this is the time to help people. And here I am thinking I need time. But then I remembered to be my own teacher as well. So I took time out.
So you can't say it's getting worse, you can't say it's getting better then?
My opinion is getting more exposed. Yes.
It's there, but it's getting more exposed.
Yes, it's getting more
partly because of COVID.
Of what people are going through, there are just so many things that are making people uncomfortable. Insecurity of the economy is not stable, health, some people are affected. There are just so many things that make people just feel a little tense. So if you feel tense physically, definitely, whether you're aware of it or not, mentally, you're not relaxed. And do you know what a disease is?
Lack of ease.
So, yes. So I think when we can do a research and maybe get from, I haven't done that, the hospitals, they can tell us a much clearer indication, like these symptoms like migraines. I know somebody who said the doctor clearly said to them, we're not giving you anything. Go and reduce that stress, madam. Yes.
Okay, because in that context, we're dealing with, BPC increasing its tariffs 3 or 4 times in the shortest possible time. We're dealing with, petrol prices exploding. We're dealing with the war in Ukraine and its effect on prices and inflation. We're dealing with so many things. So, what is the first advice you'd give somebody who's saying that there's just too much? You turn on the CNN, even the American democracy is under threat. So you kind of feel that from all corners, bad things are happening, they've amplified.
Okay.
What's your advice? There are people who are stressed out there. What should we take a collective breath? And after doing that, what would an expert like you advise?
Okay. Mindfulness teaches us it is what it is. It is what it is. The price is high. BPC is, inflation is high. Stressing about it, what are you doing to yourself? You're hurting yourself, right? So what's the point? So what mindfulness teaches us here is just to this is where I am right now, and respond to situations instead of reacting. There is a difference. A reaction is a flight and fight mode, but a reaction, you mean
a response?
A response, you are very cautious about what and ready for the after effect of what you choose. So it's for people to stop complaining, really, because it's not going to do anything about it. Just breathe, see where you are, and then from there, let's then see how we'll be inspired.
What I mean is that then the person comes to you, you sit them down, and what do? You give them a glass of water?
I give them WeChat, And you said something. Everybody that I meet, some really initially hate me for that. Is can we breathe together?
Take a breath,
yes,
deep breath.
Because the more you get stressed, your breath comes here. That is not the natural space of your breathing. Your breath is in your gut. That's why you see babies when they're breathing, it's the tummy going up and down. And us, as life happens, it goes up. So I get somebody to we sit down and look at the situation, and then from there, pen a way that will be for you to navigate life with ease, not we are not supposed to. I'm sorry. I think we've been so...
Don't be sorry, please.
Because we are businessmen. Because hard work, I just discovered that it's not necessarily the best thing. We have to get inspired, work with ease. And why am I saying that? As a businessman, I think you can relate to times where you manage to do something that normally will take, a year in a space of 3 months, and you're just feeling good. The stresses were not. So that's the kind of work we should be doing.
That's
and it happens when you're inspired and you are at ease.
When you're at ease, you're sort of on the zone, in the zone, as it were.
Yes.
Okay. You come from a marketing and advertising background. So the question that I always get asked is, how do you monetize your passion? How did you monetize your passion?
Okay. I have from the beginning known I wanted whatever I jump into to grow organically. And the monetization of a passion is identifying people who do need that service and are willing to pay for its value. So initially, I just started doing this for free because I was enjoying it. And then as I seen people finding value. Because you're surprised
to see the amount on that check.
Yeah? Yes, then
told
after
us.
that, I then started seeing that there are people who find value in this product. And then these are the people that I focus on, because what I found, over time is at times we really get bent down as business people, especially as startups and all that, because you want to service each and every person. You are trying to explain way too much, and when you don't feel good, the next client, you're not at your best. So try to identify your people. Who are you talking to? Who will benefit from this? Because people buy things that they find value in. You won't buy something that...
So is your advice to these youngsters especially who want to say, do something that you're willing to do without getting paid?
Yes. My advice will be, find a passion that is aligned with who you are. And hence, in everything, especially young people, when I'm working with them, the most important thing is self-awareness. Once you get to know who you are, and identifying what aligns with you will be much easier. And once you're aligned with whatever it is, when you do it, there is a bit of ease in doing it. There is patience, because it was never initially about, getting the check. But what I know for sure, good work, at the end, this is the money that then comes.
Wow. Okay, so currently what projects are you grappling with? Do you want to share your current activities?
Okay, besides the retreat, there's a product that I'm really, really, really excited about. I will share it before it's even launched. It's the Zen Recharge Room. This is a product that I would like to bring to Botswana. A Zen Recharge Room is a space that people can plug into to find balance. And even corporates, it's very advisable, especially big ones, to have that in their offices. Because what I found out over time working with corporates, there's a lot of toxic energy. It's not that people hate each other, guys. It's that people don't know how to deal with their emotions and all that. So this space is the space that will allow you not to send that email that after sending, you think, what did I just do? So it's that space where you want to seed in, you can just go to, and then it will have different elements that will be specific to issues. So that is one of that. And we'll be test driving it at the Makadikadi YK walk.
Wow. When is that?
Why that?
No, I'm saying when is that?
It's the 19th to the 21st of July. Yes. So basically a Zen recharge room is just a space where you can just get people to center themselves and ground themselves. So a walk why Makadikadi is because it's not just a physical thing, it's also spiritual and emotional and all those things.
People love that place.
So I would
everybody who's been on that walk came back different.
Yes. So I would like to add more value. It's a product that when there are these huge conferences, you plug it there, because in a conference or
how do you plug
summit,
it? It's not a physical room.
It's not. You create a physical room. Yeah. So I'm using.
It can be anywhere. This can become such a room.
I was using the word plug, borrowing from the youngsters. Plugging meaning like getting yourself there, but it's not a physical room. You create it. I can create it anywhere. It's about the elements that you put together to create a space. It's actually a space. So you're looking at the sensory elements, the lighting, the sound,
So when do you get into that room, what happens to you?
Okay. When you go to a beautiful place because of nature, when you get there, you go like, right?
Yes. And you say, this is lovely.
So the place immediately you get in, the intention is to have a feeling like you are just being hugged and told that it's okay.
Okay, so maybe you will tell us more during the launch when you actually start launching it. But generally speaking about our country, are there places where you'd recommend people to go? You've already mentioned Makadikadi. Are there other places where you find that you get nurtured when you go into nature, if you know what I mean?
Yes.
You get assisted more. Have you found an interaction between nature and nature that you can share?
Absolutely. There's a correlation. There is something about nature. Nature natures. You put it really right. You may not be really aware of it as an individual, but everybody, if they just go back and think, it may be some people is hills, some people is just seeing expansiveness, some people is water. I have found that out. And where Afrobot was building their wellness center was a space in Maung. It's just healing on its own. We have a whole lot of, my dream is to one day have retreats in these heritage places, Remi, for example, Zodilo. When you get there, there's just this expansiveness that you just feel.
Okay. We're talking mostly to entrepreneurs. Are there some tips that you can share with them immediately to have an instantaneous impact on their mindfulness?
Okay. To entrepreneurs, it's okay not to be okay. It's really this journey, and don't hit yourself hard because your subconscious...
It's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
You have to break that down and pack it for us.
Okay. When you're not okay and feeling frustrated, maybe from a presentation, and then you can even be more frustrated because you get really hard on yourself for behaving like no, but a true business person doesn't behave this way. What am I? That's what we do because we think that is motivation. But we are being harsh on ourselves. But what happens is your inner child goes like down and then nothing really happens. So when you're not feeling good, and it's okay that you cannot be 100% every single time and love yourself during that time, then you can come out of that space faster.
Okay. About 2 months ago, a strange thing happened in Hollywood. Will Smith just stepped up and slapped Chris Rock and live TV. It was scandalous. It was bad. This is a guy who was on top of the game, and he even won an Oscar that night. What do you think, from a mindfulness standpoint, was going on there? And if somebody like you had been there to advise, what would you say in a situation like that?
Okay, people are different and get affected by different things. So it will need for me to have had a chat with Will Smith. But out of just basing on assumption, I feel, being a public figure is very, very difficult, and more when you're put in a pedestal. So there, Will Smith was there, and then
Chris Rock apparently made a nasty joke about his wife.
So that, then Jada gave him a look. Like, hubby, a guy's disrespecting me, and you're here. And then I think he didn't pause. He reacted, he didn't respond to the situation and just walked. That's why in his response, in his apology, he did talk about that. He didn't... Most of the those are the things because you're not being mindful. You don't pause. Mindfulness teaches us to just pause so that we respond instead of reacting.
Okay. Is it, from that point of view, always advisable to take time before maybe you answer an email, before you respond to a letter, before you address even a summons that is being served on you?
I will advise that 100% of the time. Do take a pause and then go back and see if you have the same reaction. Because at times you receive things in a different radar. Where does this thing find you? You just had an argument, or your sales team were reporting the bad results, and then somebody just walks in your office and ask for money for something, and then you just explode, and then they're thinking my boss is horrible. So it's advisable to just pause first.
Is that why people say sleep on it?
You can say that again. You know what sleep does? Okay, I'll just a bit. We are vibrational beings, so we have energy, and everything, our thoughts build momentum until eventually it becomes reality. So what sleep does, it breaks the momentum. So when you're sleeping, those thoughts, the momentum slow down. But as people, when you wake up, the first thing you do, you go back to the last thought, and then you reintroduce it into your system. And then it activates the emotion, because your thoughts, emotions influence the kind of behavior. It's just a cognitive thing.
Okay. I think you can explain a lot more. We'll have to invite you back to come and explain a lot more. But let me ask you, is there Zaga? The youngsters are always asking me about Zaga. Is there Zaga in this line of work? Is there money? Is there plenty of money to be made?
What is money? I always ask. I came to that point. I came to say, okay, fine, mother, what is money? Money is freedom. Money is access. I think the first question they should ask themselves, because we've gone through that, is what does money mean to them? And then pursue that knowing. So for me, it's access so that I can access certain things. Freedom, if I feel money is freedom, then I'm able to do my balancing, because then if I don't have freedom, that means this money doesn't give me what I thought. So in this job, in other countries here, we have millionaires who are doing what I'm doing.
Millionaire coaches.
Oh, yes.
You're about to become one, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. So potentially it can be lucrative.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very, very, because it's very diverse, you know. Every single person is an emotional being. And like I'm saying, I wish to be invited again for this one, because I would like to debunk this myth that there is no space for emotions in workplace. That is a scam. Where do I look? That is a scam. Emotions are needed. That's why we have them. What they are is understanding them. They're indicators of how close or far you are from your alignment.
Okay.
So if you know about what anger is, you can then use it for your good. That's why...
A few years ago, there was a catchphrase, emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, yes.
You need emotional intelligence, but you don't necessarily need to suppress your emotions.
Yes, you don't suppress them because they communicate, and if you use them well, that's a gem of you navigating this world.
So it's about managing them.
Yes.
All right. As we get to the end of our conversation, let me ask you about the crystal ball issue. When you are looking 5, 10, 15 years ahead, what do you see for, brand Mother K?
I'm going to answer that question my way. There's a book way, and my way, I'll say my way. I don't go 5 years. I've decided way that I don't plan my 5 years and say what. Every single day it's about how would I like to feel. Because in how I would like to feel, I then get inspiration to do those things. So in essence, what I can say is in 5 years, I would like to even feel more great. And whatever will have manifested should align with how I'm feeling.
So you're taking one day at a time?
I'm taking one day at a time, but that doesn't say I don't care to grow. But I know the only constant thing is change, and how would I like to feel within that change? And what I've come to realize is when you feel good, you do good. So my daily intent is feeling good in everything that I do, and then everything else will just unfold and accentuate that feeling. We're looking for money so that we think we'll feel better, because when we access this thing, then I'll feel better. If I have this money, if I am living in a big house that I'm dreaming about, it's because I think I'll feel better. If I'm going to buy that Louis Vuitton bag, if that is your thing, it's because you think it will give you. So everything that we are doing, it's about feeling better from where you were.
Is there a spiritual component to any of this? Are you spiritual in any way?
Yes.
Does faith play a role?
Yes, I am spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual.
Help us understand those distinctions. I think I know what you mean, but my viewers may not fully grasp.
I grew up in a Christian family. I love God and Jesus. I believe in them. But in time, I questioned some Christians, in terms of, you are preaching this, and then this is what is happening. And then I realized it has nothing to do with Christianity. It has everything to do with individuality. And then I'm a very curious person. I wanted to find out about other religions. I studied a bit of Islam. I
Yeah, you
found
mentioned
out-
Zen, which is Buddhism,
yes,
isn't it?
Exactly. And then in my conclusion was that all of them are teaching about brotherhood love. Do unto the other what you would like to do unto yourself.
The golden rule.
Ke yone hela. Lay the 10 Commandments, you will not do those other things if you follow that, that one. So the reason that I'm saying I'm spiritual is I feel I don't want to limit myself. I just pick what I feel, add value to myself, the universe, and everything that I interact with. Is it people, animals, nature?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you've answered in a very interesting way indeed. Do you have a question for me at this point?
Yes.
Yes, you
I
can hit
do.
me with a question.
Yes, I would like to interview you.
Just
for you
one
to be
question.
on this chair one day.
Yeah.
So I'll ask my one question because the interview will give me an opportunity to really ask you a whole lot of questions. But my question is, I've just been wondering on my own, looking at the nuggets, and I'm thinking, I know for sure, he's not yet making money here, and he is a businessman who looks at the bottom line. So my interest is why? What is your why for this?
I think I've answered it before, but let me answer it differently this time.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love. I like to learn from people. I'm very curious. The questions that I put to you are genuine questions that I also ask for myself. In addition to that, I believe that by exposing entrepreneurs and business people, we're actually improving the ecosystem, which means we're making the system better for everyone, where we are showcasing the best and the brightest, people like you, people who are at the cutting edge of entrepreneurship in the country. So the more we do that, the more an average person sees that it's doable. That yes, I'm dreaming about this, I'm dreaming about that, it's doable. There's someone so-and-so that I saw who has done it in Botswana. Too often we're getting podcasts from other parts of the world. We're getting influences from America mostly. So I thought it was about time that we get influences from our own country. Yes, it doesn't pay that much. Yes, in terms of the algorithms, Botswana is not even recognized in the YouTube space. So I think the money will come in the long run. I'm glad to say that we've now secured a big sponsor, and we're beginning to monetize the product. But even if there wasn't any of that, I think it is worth it, because even in terms of a budget, the overall budget, it doesn't hurt that much. The only thing is that you have to dedicate time to it, in terms of preparation, in terms of setting aside a day to interview people, and to make sure that you post and you pay people. So it's a labor of love. I'm excited about it. Like our tagline says, we're enthusing, we're energizing, we're inspiring, we're empowering. As long as we're doing those 4 things, that's my reward.
Oh, bless your heart. You've answered the question that you asked me the same way.
Yeah.
Like the money will come.
Yeah.
Just be in alignment and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Bless your heart, and we do appreciate what
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Thank you,
Being
Ma'am.
the change you want to see.
Thank you, Mama Masire. I love that. Look at that camera over there. Leave that listener and that viewer with something motivational, inspirational. As well, share your contact details.
To our audience, what can I share with you that I just feel would help? I would say rest is not a luxury. Take time to make sure that you do rest. Take time to know who you are and appreciate the fact that we are all different, and really find the gem that is within you. Not focus too much on others and comparison, because that just clouds you discovering yourself and what you can actually do. That is what I would like to say. And the most important, do take care of your emotional and mental health. Thank you. Where I can be contacted, 740 66636. That is the WhatsApp number. Or you can get hold of us on Facebook, Botho Treats page. Thank you very much, and to all those who just took time to listen to us.
Thank you. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank
You've done
you.
great.
Ke a
You've
leboga.
done very well.
Erra.
Yeah.